And my audio is a lot more normal now that I've signed in. I'll make you a little louder. Damn. Yeah, it's tough.
All
They
right.
did a little better towards the end. They're 16 and 8 now, which isn't bad, to be honest. Have you been playing much, like, throughout the week?
No, I only play with you guys so far.
I've been playing a decent bit this week.
To do the whole fucking battle pass, basically.
No, it's not like that. But I've been playing a little bit of Gambit. I do understand him now.
Bro, there's so many more fucking titles for the fucking zombie shit, bro.
You mean titles? Oh, you mean
Like
Beyond
the
Queenslayer?
Yeah, because there's like solo ones now. There's one for each solo level, for 3 and 4
Holy shit.
for each character. Yo, Alan needs to get the shark one, bro.
What does this say?
That shit says undead predator.
No. Yo, Mantis. Oh, wait, why did I say that like you're in the game with me? You're just still locked in.
King Land Shark, that's pretty tough, I can't lie. Alright, well. Gagana.
A little clocky there.
Gagana.
Oh yeah, I couldn't hear you because it was way too quiet before. But did Penny get a buff?
Yeah, her nest got a buff, yeah, but like.
Makes sense. Because yeah, she's been like, she has been annoying to deal with.
Yeah, so I think in her nest now, like, she can heal everybody a little bit and give them movement
Of
speed in the
course she
webs.
can.
Yeah.
Makes
It's,
sense. I've been seeing her a lot more.
where the fuck is Penny Parker? Abilities, ironic web. Yeah, grants allies healing over time and movement boost.
You're up, little ones.
Excess healing converts into bonus health.
Woohoo! I know that sound.
Crazy.
Yo, how do you like MVP max?
How do you MVP max, bro? What kind of question is that?
Like, has the code on what determines MVP like been cracked, and then how do you optimize it accordingly?
Why are you trying to optimize it, bro? Just play the fucking game.
Because I'm trying to see like like a lot of wins in a
I'll,
row and
I'll,
like MVP
I'll
next to them.
Google it. I'll Google it, bro. Those counts you played MVP. Okay, I don't need a fucking AI answer, bro. Alright, let's see. Am I gonna watch a 10-minute video?
Oh my god, I hate fucking
Okay.
Penny, bro.
I'm gonna open a bunch of links and I'm gonna do this research real quick and then we'll come to a consensus, okay?
Let's go.
Um,
That's crazy.
hmm. Alright, bro. Hold on.
Yeah, that's tough.
Bruh.
Yeah, dude, the problem is just like they have a Penny and our DPSs are refusing to get off dive. They only want to dive.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's actually the problem. Let me see if I can. Actually, never mind. Took off my keyboard.
Guggen's
Yeah, it's such a
online,
shit ass
but
comp.
he's not fucking joining my party, bro. Okay, this shit look like it was written by AI, bro. Alright, bro.
Yeah, we need fucking range.
Alright, let me watch this video real quick. Hold on.
Did you gotta
I
do?
don't know if the stream can hear this, but I'm gonna watch it at like 4x speed real quick. Alright, bro. Where's your fucking conclusion, bro?
There you go.
Okay, so this person just made a 10-minute video and then fucking dropped a comment saying that this whole video is actually invalid. That's amazing. Why not?
Yo, Angela is also quite annoying, bro.
Yeah, it's actually facts, bro.
Although I kind of want to learn her. There's this one Angela I was playing against, and I was just like, oh, I want to be able to do that. Like, she would just pick up one of our characters and then throw them into, like, the enemy team.
Okay, hold on.
Haha, bitch.
Okay, so okay. I'm gonna watch the whole
Did you
video.
figure it out?
I'm gonna watch the whole video first, but if this is true, this is some crazy information, bro.
Mm-hmm. What's the information?
That some characters are biased to get MVP more than others.
I wouldn't be surprised. You know, it was like, I wonder who would be like favored if I could like guess it. Like, I'm sure like tanks and DPSs are favored.
Well, he's testing it. Okay.
Oh, Guggen's online.
Yeah, I said that.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
This guy didn't join the party,
When-
though.
Damn, how has he been online for a minute?
Okay. So here's the list. Here's the list, okay? Or do you want to guess? It's separated by class.
Okay, let me take some guesses for like the tank. Doctor Strange.
Actually, it's not separated by class. I lied. I was looking at that wrong.
Okay. Never mind. Okay, I definitely think Doctor Strange is up there. I wouldn't be surprised if Daredevil's up there. Wouldn't be surprised if Hulk is up there. Who else? Maybe even Namor.
Alright,
Yeah, I'm gonna say those. Or was I wrong with all of them?
What was your list? What was your list?
So I said Namor as being one of them. I said Doctor Strange being another one as well. Then who else did I say? Said one more as well. Cloak and Dagger? No, I didn't say Cloak and Dagger. No, that's some Hulk. I said Hulk. Daredevil.
Okay.
Or did I just miss?
So, if I'm understanding this graph right, it goes. Oh, okay, hold on. Let me listen to what he's saying again. This shit's confusing me.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like a this graph is like it's like a table, but it goes left, it goes like down, and then it also goes to the right. So it's like the numbers get bigger in both directions. So it's like Jeff in the top left, so he's like the most likely to get MVP.
Oh, I see that.
Then below him it's Widow, Panther, and Spider-Man, and then to the right of that it's Hulk, Winter Soldier. So that's how it's like distributed, and then the next row.
Interesting. I was gonna say Black Panther, but Jeff was surprised.
And then Hela's on the end, and then there's some characters that aren't on the thing. So, Iron Fist, Wolverine, Psylocke, Mr. Fantastic, Invisible Woman, Human Torch, and Thing aren't on this list.
Damn, those are like 2-3 champs I play. Damn,
No,
Mr.
like,
Fantastic's not on that thing.
as in they don't have the data for the list.
Oh, I see.
Not that they're
Such
not
little
on the
MVP.
list.
I mean, I do pretty okay with Mr. F. He's gotten nerfed so many times. A lot of the champs I play have been nerfed a lot.
Mr. F.
Because I get MVP with him a decent, I think the most out of anybody. Oh, I just unlocked Knight with Ultron. Yo, look who it is. Ganth.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. I don't know about all that MVP calculation stuff. Hey, buddy, go on Discord. Discord?
Can he hear you in game chat?
I hope so.
Discord's just like the given.
There he is.
Ah, there he is. Mr. Guggen, how do you do?
This guy is saying that.
Maybe his headset's updating, yo.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
You never know.
Pick your hero. Or villain. I'm not judging.
Make way for the King of Tea.
I will bring peace to this universe.
I am beyond my pit.
I'm the brightest in the sky.
Anyone stand.
I'm your.
Bro's playing all of our
the
mains.
cloudless night, just like the moon.
Remember when Surfell was a Spider-Man main for like a week?
I wouldn't call it a main, bro. I call
Remember
it
when he played that? When he already played that character?
I thought it was Smurf though. Like I was
Smurf.
Smurf for real.
Yeah, Surfell can really play all the characters. He can he can definitely play all of them.
He might be the Marvel rival, bro.
He might be the Marvel rival. It's really good, but
Even when he's on your team, he's the Marvel rival, bro.
he's the Marvel rival.
No more Gambit ain't used to saving time and space. He's just a simple thief at heart.
Yo, it's like Zekrom Reshiram, bro.
A little bit, yo, low key.
Nah,
It actually is very, very similar.
Hit an emote on me, bro.
Let's talk more with this battle.
The battle
Emo.
starts in 5, 4.
Oh, that's tough. That's kind of tough.
Got another one for you.
All you need to do
Okay,
is
alright,
capture
no.
the mission area.
We have to destroy them.
Yeah, we gotta Alan Lol them, bro.
Something like that, yeah. We have to make them regret downloading the game.
Very much. On your toes. Here they come.
Got here.
Dude, Duggan, bro, we can't hear you, man. I hope you know that. Oh, this guy. fucking cook my own.
You think I can do that too?
Hey. Whoa, buddy. Calm down.
Vengeance is mine.
The one thing that I will say
Healing.
this guy sucks at is taking out root walls.
Yeah. I mean, you shouldn't really have to be doing that yourself. My arm is itchy.
Mission area is yours.
We're good.
This land belongs to us.
I feel like Daredevil's like one of the most banned characters.
He's going band for band, bro.
A gift from Khonshu.
Something like that. Yeah, I've never really played him. Even Blade. I guess I barely played during those months.
Oh, brother, somebody help me.
Ulting.
Needed that, thanks.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Oh, this guy haunting me back, bro. My dreams are scarier.
He's dead.
Yo, bro. Never mind. Is that your king?
My king? Oh, my kill. No,
No, that's not what I said.
unfortunately.
More than half of the mission area. Keep going.
Yeah, this Namor guy's still dying too much, bro.
He's so stupid, this guy.
Love battlefield medicine. Only one of us gets to play with Khonshu's toys. A gift from Khonshu.
That was a good wall from him.
I'd know that
shit.
onk anywhere.
Get out of here.
The area's almost yours.
The moon haunts
Around the corner.
Oh shit! Oh, he was right behind me.
love battlefield
Keep
medicine.
fighting until we have a winner.
Rise and fall. This was
I
Khonshu's
was
will.
surprised she lived that long.
Yeah,
to
I
be
missed
honest.
way too many shots right there. I can't lie.
Me too.
Okay. Yo, Guggen's cooking, bro. Venom?
Oh, can't hear him though, yo. I'll say it in the chat.
Oh, God.
I am the Fist of Khonshu, protector of the overnight travelers.
Gambit will read every message, but this guy just won't pull up.
Seconds before you attack. Get ready.
You may not be a king, but I can see that the burden of leadership is taking its toll on you. I'm learning that doing what's right for my people isn't always the same as doing what's right. And yet you have the courage to try. Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
The battle starts in 5.
Wait, Manir, in that video, did you find out like what leads to how do you MVP max, or is it literally just play good? Oh, he hears us.
If I know there was going to be a party.
Yeah, were there any like
Yeah, it's just like
things to do?
it's just get kills and get damage, bro.
anything weighted more, like final hits and kills? I'm guessing.
Yeah, final
given the
hits.
most weighting.
Final hits and
Makes sense.
Thank you very much.
Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now.
Better put this to good use. The moon haunts you. Tremble before fast! Something here worth looking at.
The mission area is yours.
I'm
Thank you very much. A little pick me up.
I almost took out their storm.
Oh shit.
Thanks.
Oh, I should have finished the job.
Get me out of here. Get me out of here. Oh, this guy's chasing me, bro. Where's my stat line?
I know those ones.
Still not dead.
Damn, what a kill steal.
Keep capturing more than half of the mission area. Keep going.
Bastard.
He's like one shot, bro. That guy.
With a Gambit?
No, the Hulk.
There was a few one-shots there.
Oh shit. Oh, good shit, good shit.
The wounds are gone. Thanks. Don't
Where'd this guy
fight
go?
vengeance personified. I'm Hulking.
Here is almost yours.
Oh, insane fun.
A gift from Khonshu.
Yeah, this Hulk's harassing me.
Oh shit.
You'll have to keep
Oh, he's dead. Oh, wow. This Namor came to help me out.
Oh fuck. Oh fuck.
Oh, that's tough.
I got greedy. This Daredevil's dead. Storm, bro. Why did I take my ace, bro? What the fuck?
Back again? Great.
This guy's
Cosmic
upset.
Yard Amplifier, ready to be deployed.
Oh shit.
Rise and fall.
I didn't know everybody was still dead, bro.
Yeah, I'm cooked.
What the fuck are you, bro?
Being chased.
Come help. Okay. It's okay. I'll do it from the grave.
You should have seen that, bro. Sometimes that'll just happen. Get chased by a Black Panther or a Hulk for 20 seconds.
Happens to the best of us. Duggan holding it down.
He really wanted that kill, man. He doesn't have a lot.
I am ready to put on a show.
They tried it though. 6 and 6.
They definitely-
MVP, bro. I mean ace. That's crazy.
Another epic victory. Big
Alright, Daredevil. I see.
He's a final hunter, final hit hunter,
Final hit on.
final hit
Bro,
merchant.
look at my damage.
Yeah, literally. Oh my god.
Yo.
Fucking 3x.
Y'all can hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, bro.
Bro,
Bro, look at
I
my
hear you,
fucking damage, bro. Holy shit.
That's actually crazy. Yeah, you were struggling with him. Jesus.
This guy was just eating my fucking leftovers, bro.
Yo, what the fuck?
Does Daredevil's kit like give him more damage the lower someone's health is or something like that? Because I noticed he
Maybe.
always has a lot of final hits. I was curious.
Nah, but
Manir, do you know?
He can just target. Like, he can just switch his target immediately with this fucking, like, sonar shit, and then dash them and, like, clean up scraps and get his fucking dash back, and then dash away back to the fucking other person again.
You'll need a top-notch team to win
He's
this
hella
one.
annoying if he's actually good.
Mhm.
DPS Gambit? Damn, he made
Still
him play
hard,
Daredevil.
still hard to play though, low key.
Daredevil?
Why is it hard to play?
I feel like it's hard to play.
I mean, it's hard. Yeah,
it's
you,
a lot
gotta,
of,
you still
like-
gotta stay alive and shit, you know? It's like Black Panther in that
I think
way,
any
like,
any melee character in general.
yeah, you gotta know how to, like, get in and get out quick if you're fucking up.
I do like ranged characters.
Wind, cloud, and
Can I try
storm.
Thor? I'm gonna try Thor.
Hear my command.
Yeah, you're allowed to try Thor.
I feel like I can do some damage.
Somewhere in the world is a little girl like I
Oh, it's
once
defense?
was.
Fuck.
I fight for her.
I should have played Penny.
30 seconds
Do
before you
whatever you
attack.
want, man.
Get ready.
The world is your oyster.
Archer, I hope you don't plan to miss today.
Why would I plan to miss?
Oh, it's a little joke before battle.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
Now I'm really hitting hard.
These people are still trying to insta-lock Gambit. It's been like a week.
Isn't that what you're doing every time?
The battle starts in 5.
But when I do it, Manir, you forget, when I do it, it's different.
Okay,
What?
yeah.
You have to stop them from securing the mission area.
Yeah, like that.
This role was promised to me, like, you know what I mean?
I know how long you've been waiting for this,
Something like that,
But
Come
DPS
on.
Gambit did, I mean, he didn't make a name for himself, literally.
But he actually did decide to do exactly that.
So I don't know, bro.
He does a really good amount of damage blocked as well.
Who the fuck is on the point, bro? Who the fuck? Turn around, bro.
Oh, he's one shot.
Somebody heal me, bro. Somebody heal us.
Trying.
I'm playing Jeff, bro. Jeff does not do anything either. Whoa.
Yeah,
Oh,
Jeff
no,
and the
I don't like-
Gambit
I don't like
healer
this
is
one.
definitely kind of tough because we don't do enough.
I died.
Oh my god, hit something. Fine.
Oh, this isn't good.
I'm playing like goofy right now. Hold on. Never mind. Everybody's gone.
Yeah, I'm getting cooked.
Oh, Magneto. Okay.
I can get
Well
that.
done, team. Let's go.
Run it back.
Get the healers.
Now the thunder is coming.
I feel like I'm not doing
that's
anything
tough.
right now.
Yeah, I don't think you're getting enough help right now. This Phoenix is like just running around. Hawkeye's like barely sniping right now. Alright, I'm back. Everybody's
Fuck, I keep getting
everybody
slept on, bro.
Nah, you're good. I don't know
Bro,
about
the
that. You
feels
might
are
die. You
crazy.
might die from that.
I survived.
Happy to help.
We're doing my best.
It's like one shot, bro.
Good shit. No way we just did that.
Oh, I got sniped by Mantis.
Shake it up.
Really
That's a
combo
tough
me.
one.
That extra lethal feeling.
Yeah, 2 of our guys just got popped.
The wind
I'll just hold
will
on.
only
Come
blow
back. I'm coming
stronger.
back.
I have ult.
So does a shark. Hopefully the shark can
Please.
utilize that. I almost have my ult.
I don't like this. I don't like this. I sense something behind us.
Oh, don't worry, I have my ult. Me and Jeff time this shit. Oh shit.
Feel the wrath of the goddess!
Kill the bitch, kill it.
Never mind.
Let's get.
She's weak. She's weak as fuck.
This guy actually bricked me, bro. What the fuck? Nah, it's actually.
How does one brick that?
So me and Jeff have a team up when we use our ults together, but this guy used his ult as soon as I had my ult, but he didn't let me use my ult first. And then he swallowed the team, and then I died.
We should low-key back up.
Yeah.
I'm on the way back though. Saul, you trying to play rank, bro? Is that what I'm hearing in my chat?
Yeah, he's gotta pull up, man.
The DPS Gambit doing a pretty good job here.
I see them. Any healing is good.
Yeah,
I'm
if my aim was a
DPS
little bit
man,
better,
but-
bro, that'd be just crazy.
Now I'm really
Happy to thunderbolt.
Plasma.
Oh hell no! Oh, he died to that?
We are undefeatable.
I'm ass.
Back up.
I'm actually ass.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
I'm so ass. What the fuck?
Where they're gonna get it.
Storm
That's
clouds.
okay. That's okay.
You need to stop that.
Okay, we're doing a good job on time.
Yeah. Let's see if I mean, I'll just time up. I'll just time up. I'll see what it is.
Oh, man, here you saw that.
Oh, I did.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know if these.
That Punisher is
I don't
fucking
know if,
destroying me. Should I just play Venom? I might switch.
I mean, yeah, you can do whatever you want, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, we have plenty of time.
Nothing's stopping me.
Try Angela out if you want, even.
Angela, I could do Angela. Nice. Yeah, after I die. The flying shit throws me off.
Get this fucking. Why is this gonna stay? What the hell is happening, bro? Alright. Yeah.
How do I go in like that, bro?
Oh, Jeff didn't ult. Why didn't Jeff ult? Why didn't Jeff ult?
Jeff isn't really good, to be honest.
Why didn't Jeff ult? Oh, I'm dead.
It's actually really good for Jeff to have impressive looking stats in their ass.
He stopped them in their tracks.
Alright, can we switching?
Oh, yeah. I'll switch to Venom.
No, play Angela, bro.
Oh, sorry.
Warrior is not defined by strength, but
We
by
are
courage.
undefeatable.
Alright.
I'm cooked.
On the way, on the way. I'm flying in, I'm flying in.
Chance to stop them.
Oh, so cooked.
yeah,
Yeah.
Awaken the rage of battle.
Whoa.
Hey, their Mantis ulted, so at least there's that.
Yeah, I gotta back up for a second. I'm not getting any.
Timely aid. I am awaken the rage of battle.
Oh,
I don't know what I'm
Yeah,
doing.
there's not. Jeff is not good. We are lacking healing.
There you are.
Alright, we back.
Slow down. The wrath of Asgard.
Oh, that's gonna hurt. Why?
Only if you let it. Oh fuck! Oh fuck!
What glorious men.
Oh fuck!
I am
Oh, fuck.
strengthened.
Oh fuck! Oh my life! Oh fuck!
I am barely wounded.
Stop that vehicle.
Nah. Please tell me somebody saw that, bro. That was a
I just saw you running for your life a
Way
little
to
bit.
fucking escape, bro. I ran to the health pack. I used all my fucking abilities to do it, bro. Man,
This
Gambit
is annoying.
old, bro. Okay. Alright, so I can switch characters? No problem.
Fuck this. Oh, did you want me to play Angela?
No, I don't need to do
Battle
that.
fury burn.
Let's say Penny's a good choice. She got buffed recently.
I got some.
This is gonna hurt.
I'm about to do this for real, bro. Watch.
We are undefeatable.
Aha, we're all starting to cancel each other out.
Oh. There's a lot of noise that one.
I am Phoenix.
How did I mess that up?
Give them another inch. Or else.
Look at this Magneto guy, bro. He's behind us. Look at this Punisher. He's dead, never mind. I don't know what he was cooking.
I know I'm having a great time.
They're gonna have a team up.
Okay.
He stopped them in
Oh,
their
rocket. Nice. Okay. Sick.
Star-Lord's on the point.
Someone scratch my back. A shield? Ping the bad guy.
Oh, they switched the group. Fuck you.
Ready for action.
Yeah, they got the Mantis group team up.
Only 60 seconds left.
That's what they had to resort to.
You're welcome. My good deed.
Yeah, that's nice. I don't like the way that Star-Lord's moving.
Yeah, what an upgrade.
Moving like he has ult.
That's me.
Fuck this Starlight. I'm not getting past this.
Human eyes.
Yeah, you're letting.
Oh, group. There he is. Where is he?
Yeah, that I don't like that. Yeah.
Got him.
I'm doing my best. Oh shit, there we go.
I webbed his ass.
I was just healing the fuck out of you, bro.
DPS Gambit.
Damn, DPS Gambit. Nicely.
Dude, give me 30 seconds to fill my water bottle up.
Okay.
I think we can do that.
I'll watch your highlight in the meantime. Oh, it's a Thor highlight? That's crazy.
What happened?
Your highlight's a Thor highlight.
I was cooking, bro.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, you're cooking though.
I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah, I can see that. Alright, let's see what Justin was cooking, bro. It's the same time as Duggan's highlight.
What happened?
It's the same time as your highlight.
The straightness. Straight lines think alike.
Temple's highlight is just healing you during your highlight.
It actually is.
Fine.
I got like I didn't even get a single KO.
Bro, you're healing the fuck out of Tempo.
Hey, even the enemy said heal
death.
diff. Enemy did say heal diff, so that must mean
I mean, yeah.
it was a heal
bro.
diff.
It was a heal diff. Alright, let's see what I was cooking, bro. Who's it gonna be?
I feel like I don't heal enough as Gambit though. Like, he doesn't have the same
My
level
highlight's a
as...
Thor highlight? That's crazy, bro.
Beholds the god of thunder! Battle-fury burns!
He's definitely like a
max-
strategist
all
DPS
max.
hybrid, kind of like...
Yeah, kind of like Ultron.
Mhm.
He's got like CC clear though, like that's crazy.
He does have CC and he has like anti-healing, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I like him
He doesn't
more.
do as like as much like immediate damage, but he does like
Burst.
Just
He has like no, he has some burst. He actually does have some burst.
he does
I
have
would
burst,
say.
but like Ultron's like a beam, you know, like you don't have to be there.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You don't have to be
With
next to your
yeah, exactly.
Gambit-
Now for
Gambit gotta
Gambit
be
to do a
around your
lot of burst
teammates.
damage, you have to be close, and you have to be around your teammates. Yeah, I agree.
Are you back?
I think so. He said 30 seconds and he was talking. So
Was that before he left or after he left? After he came back? I'm unlocking this now. Punisher. The Punisher.
yeah, imagine if Gambit had a Dark Magician looking skin. That'd be sick.
Hey, bro.
Arkham Magician.
The Dark Magician from Yu-Gi-Oh.
Can't hear this guy, bro.
There's no codes for.
Oh, mans are yapping in the game.
Allow me, bro.
I just hear men yapping in the game.
I'll scream.
I said they said how come there's no codes for like base 11 and 12? Like there's not a code 11, a code 12, even though there's a code 8 for base 8, there's a code 10 for base 10, and I was like, first of all, I like muted the phone call and I was like, are you fucking serious?
Yo, is that guy serious?
I was like, do you not read the AAAO? It fucking tells you.
You
Written
don't
on
read
a
that
piece
shit?
of fucking paper, bro. Like,
It's on a paper, bro.
and these are the people making decisions, bro. That's when I was like, this is ridiculous. So I was like, I can't wait to fucking get out of here.
Ah,
Because I'm
Moon
surrounded by
and
fucking
Iron
idiots who don't know
Man.
how to fucking.
I'm Ultron.
I saw a graphic on Twitter that was showing that Ultron has gotten one buff in
He's
7
been doing a
years
lot of admin.
since he was released.
Been fucking
Crazy.
annoying as shit.
Ultron's been nerfed like 7 times.
Huh?
They don't want to see you winning, Manir.
Bro, they just fucking keep
Yeah, they still do.
trying to
I
make
need to
me
get rid of
like, not wanna.
You remember? I don't know if you remember Rollins or if you left him here.
Alright, I gotta beat this guy, bro.
4, 3, 2, 1.
This is a decent comp. I mean, we could definitely need a third healer, but let's see. I mean, Penny's basically a third healer now.
Nah, I'm goated, bro. No worries.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy.
Indeed.
Oh shit, my health bar. Go, Guggen, you
Yeah,
might
they cooked us
you
right
might
there.
not live, Guggen. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you did not live. Black Widow trying to snipe me, bro. Who allows you? I just
No way, yo.
I just died, bro.
First time Black Widow's making an impact, yo.
Because she can heal now, bro. That doesn't make any sense.
She can actually heal now?
Yeah, she's a team up that, like, I don't know with who, but like she can fucking shoot bullets and heal her teammates. I don't even know how that makes any sense.
Oh, they're weak over there.
Wait, what team up is that?
I don't know. I don't know what character that is. It doesn't make any
How are we still? How are we dead? Not. Damn.
I'm not melting
sense.
it.
Okay. Who's melting? Yo, this is actually crazy. Oh wait, I died in my car. I got switch characters, bro. This is crazy.
I'm getting cooked right now.
This is crazy.
Alright guys, I guess if you want me to play Venom, I got this.
No. Stay penny, bro. I'm rocking now. We shall
I'm
overcome.
not even...
Oh, you're not even penny. Are you Thor? Yeah. I mean, you're doing good, bro. You're living at least.
I'm here.
I am here. Oh, that's not good at all. See, these guys are comboing like they're supposed to. Unfortunately, they're on the other team.
Only one person that died.
Yeah, because
They thought.
they didn't do it fast enough, bro. Oh, okay.
I will help get that vehicle to its destination.
Come on.
I can't save you, bro. Oh shit! I can't even save myself.
I as well.
By the eye of
Oh hell
yeah.
no!
Yeah, that was a tough one.
Topped me off. Thanks.
I unleash the Vishanti.
It's a Black Widow, bro. What the fuck?
Fire mode. Get that vehicle moving again.
So they're actually cooking us right now.
A DPS diff.
It's just a fucking Black Widow doing crazy. Actually, no, Storm.
I am Asgard's might.
Yo, I cannot see you, bro. I cannot heal you, bro. Oh,
That was the worst ult ever, bro.
yeah. Switch characters, bro.
It's okay. It's just quick play.
Vehicle isn't going to escort
I
itself.
mean, we got 4 minutes. We got it, but like,
Damn, bro.
we need some.
Bro, that motivated me to actually be better.
This is real.
Dang, it's just quick play.
As Thor, though.
Oh, I Thor.
Thor.
Bro, do you even know what you're doing?
Come on, that bitch is.
Yeah,
There you
just
go.
swing the hammer, bro. That's all you need to do.
He's he's good, you know. Alan Law also started somewhere before he became the Thor.
Yeah, he was a rocket main, bro. That's where he started.
Someone around here.
You're halfway there. Keep going.
Play invisible. Oh shit! How am I stunned?
Watch me unstop you.
Okay.
Nice. See, I locked in.
The vehicle checkpoint. Keep up the momentum.
Where's Storm?
I can't see you. I can't see you. Fuck.
I got a kill. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're getting killed, bro.
I finished off Storm. Oh, that's bad.
Oh no. Oh no.
Don't worry, guys.
I'll patch you up.
Plasma?
See, I'm fucking helpful.
Damn.
Armored up.
Ah shit. Ah shit.
I'm not hope we can do something.
Bitch. Okay, there we go. At least we got him.
What the hell was that? That thing?
I just didn't get the final hit, man. That's why.
They're dancing around, bro.
That's it! Don't let anything stand in your way.
Oh.
You're ready for edge.
Come on.
Damn, did I hit anyone? Holy shit.
Firepower.
How you been doing shit?
Yo, that Storm wanted me.
Bro, I'm killing everybody right now.
Get that vehicle moving again.
Oh, I'm gonna get some revenge.
Oh, that's tough, right? During the ult.
You're welcome.
Get that vehicle moving again.
Why the fuck did I go in there?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll patch you
Bro,
up.
you're too fat. What do you mean, how do you go in there? I'm cooking, bro.
Yeah.
This guy doesn't have any shielding, bro.
Nah, bro.
No mobility or escape.
Yo, you just gotta dash in, bro. That's the only thing you got, bro.
I'm locked in, though. I'm locked in. Screw it.
Someone scratch my back. This is real firepower.
Oh,
Get that vehicle moving again.
Bro,
oh, I'm so cooked.
I appreciate you trying. Yeah, we're getting cooked though.
I switched to Venom.
Come down, come down, come down. Go back, go back, go back, go back, go back.
I can't believe we're alive.
Hey, bro, somehow we make it.
Yeah, what an upgrade. I'll patch you up.
But unfortunately, we're back where we started this checkpoint.
Yeah, I mean, what?
Oh,
yeah.
hell no.
Those beacons don't
Oh, my
grow on trees, you know.
beacon.
You're welcome. Go down.
It's really tough.
Fucking hurt.
Yeah. Their cloak and dagger is making it difficult, to be honest.
Pulse charge.
Oh, bruh.
Oh. So our DPS is really bad.
Only 60 seconds left.
Oh, this is
No,
good.
no, 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 no.
They're going behind.
This is real firepower.
Us against the world.
Oh, fuck, I almost killed it too. No, look at it. You're gonna die in there, bro.
Those guys are about to shoot at us. We're on a mission for the king. Take the gas.
Tried to warn you.
30 seconds.
Oh, maybe it's stupid.
Get that vehicle moving again.
Fuck.
Behold, Dark Child!
Yo. There's...
Feel the wrath of the
Yeah.
What can you even do, bro?
There's not a lot we can do.
Why am I smaller right now?
Does this thing even have turnaround
You'll have to keep fighting until you have a winner.
Oh, I died. Fuck. I tried.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Well, you can't expect to win them all.
Fucking DPS gap, bro. Holy man.
Yeah, that's what it was. I mean, 16 and 3 is fucking pathetic. It's 16 and 11. That's her ace.
Really nice.
When you're like, how long does it typically take like someone to lord a character? Do you think?
I mean, like actually playing the character well. I don't know. Probably like 20 hours.
Probably. I don't know if when I'll get there. Probably have more than 10 hours on Gambit right now.
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
You go to Gambit?
They call me
Not yet.
Tongue now. But
I just hit Centurion.
How far is that up below?
It's the one right before Lord.
Oh shit. Oh.
Guggen, you've
Before
probably
I do
not
the
lorded
Lord.
a character, have you?
I've never not. No.
Yo, we have the Spider-Man in our lobby. I can't believe he has that name.
Yeah, we also have MJ in our lobby, bro.
Yeah, we're gonna be in a video?
We're gonna be in a
I've
video.
traveled
What?
to hell and back, and I'd gladly do it again.
You doing
if it
YouTube or
helps.
some shit?
Oh, you never know. I mean, we're in stream right now.
30
We're
seconds
like
before you attack.
the Mad Moon.
Get ready.
Yeah. That
Fuck this
guy's
guy, he
washed
destroyed
though.
my-
Bet would fetch a hefty price on the black market.
Not as washed as Sabogen. Who's more washed, him or Yo, him and Amit can have like a washed off. You know?
Washed off, bro. Fucking like a laundry detergent, like a laundromat.
It's exactly yo.
The battle starts in
Some shit like
5,
I gotta
that.
call that 1v1 a laundromat the way they're both washed, bro.
1.
Exactly, yes,
You have
exactly.
to stop them from securing the mission area.
Yeah, I forgot this character was blind, bro.
So,
Come on, there you go.
That's much better.
Oh,
Yeah, or Spider-Man and MJ. I don't know.
that one. I think that was the first one.
is this the same team as last time?
There's still work to be done.
Oh, how do you say that?
I don't know, it just looks like the same thing. The magic and everything.
It's just a magic, isn't it?
You're on my radar.
How did you? Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know if these triple DPSs are gonna work.
Eh.
You still have to deal with the devil.
Shit, me tank.
You're on my radar.
Okay, yeah, I'm not fucking with that, bro. I'm out.
You need to stop that vehicle in its tracks.
Cook this fraud. Cook this fraud. Oh my god, no.
Could use one of these.
My God, bro! I took fucking 2 health packs and still couldn't get
I
away.
always get back up.
Okay, I almost have my all.
Vehicle.
I'm holding it down. Everybody else is
They've made it
holding me back.
Stop them.
Okay. Invisible Woman just fell off the fucking map.
We are undefeated.
What the fuck? Oh my god. Okay,
Yo,
they
what
just
is this?
double ulted on me.
There's still work.
We got triple heal now.
Okay. We might be moving up in the world.
Stop them.
Let's go.
Okay, Spider-Man's alt maxing.
I'm help.
Yeah, listen, he got one of them.
Hey, bro. That's more than he had before.
That's way more than he had before.
Yo, this fucking Gambit broke. Oh my god. Why?
Gambit never fought!
Oh shit. Oh shit. Yo, run away from that shit.
Yo, their team is just fucking better than ours, man.
No, fuck that, fuck that.
Bro, they're actually... Alright.
Child!
No.
Okay. Nah, I did some dumb shit, I can't lie. That was on me.
Yeah, our whole yeah.
I won't shy away from a fight, but I'd rather be
They hit a
relaxed.
checkpoint. Now might be a good time to stop them.
Rockets, fire!
Do some mindless murder real quick. Hold on.
Double KO.
Oh, no.
That put a spring in my step? Anyone say fireworks?
They're sneaking from
Watch out, they're gonna go away.
Bitch, right here.
Please, bitch, please.
Oh shit. Somebody help me,
They got heals.
Come to the point. Oh fuck.
We are undefeatable!
Look out below.
Oh, Gambit.
Get away! Get away, man! You get away!
Man, I'm so far, bro. Fuck.
Sonic Surge.
I'm back.
Gotta walk my ass all over there.
Yeah.
Powering
Look
up.
at this guy's flying. As I'm like walking my slow ass, bro.
Bombs away.
Better stop that vehicle.
Your magic's coming around.
That's better.
What?
Oh, that's the stuff.
Are we serious right now?
Doesn't look like it.
Fuck this, just kill him.
Now or never.
Iron Man operational again.
Okay. It's now or never, guys. We better stop them right now.
Powering up.
I'm sending the beam.
How's that person like a lord fucking Scarlet Witch though?
There's another one
I
down.
mean, probably just playtime.
No.
Magic flanking us.
He's stuck in their trap. We can always count on you, Spidey.
You best check this out.
They behind us?
Powering up.
I don't know where magic is anymore.
Bombs away.
Oh, there's the
Need
magic.
some repairs. Fast. Maximum pulse.
Oh, this fuck.
Oh, that is so tough. Oh, they're ulting.
Yeah, they got my ass. I'm dead. Okay, one good Wanda ult right now. We could be eating, bro.
Iron Man operational again.
Child!
Okay, never mind. Yeah, it's over.
Bombs away.
Trying distracting them back here, but
Another inch. Or else.
yeah. And then some lose some.
Well. That's good.
Gambit never falls! I'm opening.
Why is this guy opening a portal,
Iron
bro?
Man operational again.
I better open this portal real quick.
Powering up.
Should you even kill anybody with that?
You know, playtime was right, bro.
What the fuck was that, bro?
No. No.
Dude, what just happened?
This cannot be.
I mean, we've had some interesting DPSs lately. That should have been me.
That should have been me.
Doing my job. What's going on?
It's not your fault, bro. So fucking 5 and 10 for Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. Fuck those things, bro. Nah, you're talking to the team, bro.
Put my keyboard back in.
You'll need a top-notch team to win
Yeah,
this one.
Make way for the king of teams.
Can I have Gambit, please?
You're fine, because you asked nicely.
Yo, Guggen, you wanna play Hawkeye for me real quick?
Okay.
Yeah, bro.
There's no team up with Hawkeye.
There's an achievement with Hawkeye.
Oh, you're such an ass.
You want to do it?
All we need to do is get a kill together.
Okay. I can try.
Gonna have to play
Alright, go Ultron. Man, I wish he got buff. He had buffs, because like he could definitely use some, yo. I feel like.
Yeah, he's got like
30 seconds
3
before you
abilities,
attack.
bro,
Get ready.
in total. Gambit's got like,
I guess we're
like a fucking
yeah,
12,
so
bro.
many. Pretty much, yeah.
Why are you telling the enemy team that you'll switch after
I
kill?
don't know, bro. I'm about to play Pro City, bro.
The
Yeah,
battle
playing in the
starts.
fog is quite a tactic here.
3, 2, 1.
Aiming into the fog, yeah.
All you need
Yeah,
to do
right,
is capture the mission area. Got it?
That's definitely a tactic. Of all time.
Maybe I'm not too bad at it.
Okay, I gotta try to play this character.
Yeah, maybe I'm not too bad at it.
You shoot the storm.
Getting killed.
Yeah.
Now you do the same for me.
Oh, I got slept.
Messing with my head.
Nothing personal.
I'm on a phone. Now you do the same for me, we.
Yeah, the Adam's gonna revive behind this wall.
He has ult already?
No, he like revived himself.
Oh. I thought
Oh, probably didn't need to do that because they're all dead, but
probably not. I mean, they spawn. Actually, they spawn here. We spawn here. I think we're cooking.
I say so.
My stat padding? Yes. Okay, I think we got the achievement within like the first 2 kills. But I can't know until the game's over. So
Yeah, I wanna
yeah, you might.
It's never over. It's
You might be
over.
cooking, bro.
Oh, they're
Yeah, they're ulting back. Oh, there's that.
well, I don't like the
Yo,
sound
yo,
of
my
that.
cross is on the fucking point. Oh, help, I'm dead.
Oh. I definitely tried. An effort was definitely made.
It's alright, we did good. Doug is cooking. Holy, bro.
I'm on the point.
That guy sniped the shit out of me.
Oh.
Okay, I can't even see Hulk.
You know where I get all this, I think stuff? You know,
Just the boost I needed.
Jeff's weak.
So weak. Oh, shit.
Gambit got your back.
Vehicle reached the checkpoint. Keep up the momentum.
Yo, Gambit gameplay? This is what the people wanted to see? Why did I lose all my viewers, bro? What the fuck?
You've been waiting a while to play Gambit, you know?
Yeah, you know how long I've been waiting for this?
A little bit.
Who's up there? Bro? I can't really. Oh shit. Got America 6.
We got a few of them there. Did some solid damage.
Don't let anything stand in your way.
Damn, Guggen.
Alright,
Yeah, you might be.
Yo, is Hawkeye your guy?
I'm lagging.
This guy might be fucking smurfing, bro. Holy. This guy's a Hawkeye man the whole time.
So close. This is your big chance.
Yeah, the shark is behind us. I feel like he's about to.
Yeah, Shark's behind us.
Never mind, dead.
I got you, Guggen.
Gambit never fall.
Didn't really need to do that.
The shield. Merci.
We just stunting on them.
The shark's back.
Yo, we showed them, eh?
Don't matter.
2 DPS strategists as well.
Shit.
They didn't believe in us.
Nah, they actually wouldn't. This wouldn't have worked in ranked, but we were just a lot better than they were.
Oh yeah, for sure, bro. Me and Guggen were actually cooking them as a team.
You get the team, bro?
Let me check.
That wasn't even 5 minutes.
I did get my shit.
Ah.
And I got 200 unstable molecules for it. Let's go.
Was it a Gambit achievement?
Yeah. You know, there's always 2 achievements for at least 2 achievements for every character, I think. One's like an alt achievement, and then one's just like a normal achievement. That shit.
I thought Arjun would have came on by now.
Top-notch team to win this one.
Nah, he said he didn't want to come on because Guggen was on.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Try on Magneto.
Yeah, if Arjun ain't coming. Yeah, seriously, bro. It's like titillated to come, bro. I swear.
This guy's edging himself, bro.
Yo, yeah, he instantly read that.
Did he react to it? Oh, yeah, he did.
Indeed.
I've watched in 30 seconds before you attack.
Let's get some low IQ gameplay going.
Don't let that happen again.
Fuck, I wish we were on offense, man.
Honestly, bro. Hey, Justin, you remember that one time I was trying to get the fucking achievements for the new map and they wouldn't put us on offense?
I do remember
For
that.
like 8 games in a row on the same map. We were just playing defense over and over again.
The battle starts in 5.
That was amusing.
4,
Oh, we can. Never mind.
2.
I was gonna say we're gonna molest them.
I mean,
We still could, but
After all this time,
okay, hold on. They're doing a lot. They're doing a lot. Like, they're doing a lot right now. They got Iron Man, Namor, Venom. Very annoying. And Phoenix. Okay. Very annoying.
Namor over there.
Yeah. Venom's
Holy
low.
shit.
Okay. Everybody's low. Everybody's back. Oh, the house. Never mind. Oh shit. Oh shizer.
That is quite an annoying team, yeah. And our healers are getting kind of like fucked right now in the rock climb.
I'm going after Iron Man right now. Never mind. He ran away. Fuck. I don't have an escape plan. I don't have an escape plan. Oh, I died.
RT, I'm fucking sick.
Forlates was my life. But wouldn't it be fabulous to have an all-superhero band?
What did Emmett say? Might be down tomorrow or some shit.
I'll be down. Fuck.
Yo, live.
I'm like, it's so bad, guys.
Maximum oh! That didn't go right.
That happens a lot.
Yeah, Gukken's lagging like crazy. I can see it on my screen. This guy's teleporting like a motherfucker, bro. Holy. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. That's not good. Oh.
Oh, what? I was ulting and then I got cancelled by something. Damn, we could have been ulting together, Manir.
I know, I'm just trying to fucking stay alive long enough for someone to come back.
Honestly, that's good, because, like, that gives me what I needed.
Live. Emma Frost, do something nice. Come on. Damn.
Yes.
That's so
That wasn't enough.
For mutant kind.
Don't die, Guggen. Don't die, Guggen. Don't die. Oh, you died, Guggen. Fuck. Everybody's dying. Fuck.
Yeah, that's over. No one's touching it. So, yo, it's always a DPS diff.
I can't even lock it fast enough, so you have wrong here.
That's how it be in quick play, bro. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Bro, finally. Alright, man, behind us. Cook that fraud. Cook that fraud. Chat clip it. Oh, why is getting me never fooling, bro? Yo, why are you Phoenix, bro? Oh shit. Damn.
Yeah, he really got you, Joe.
Oh my fucking god.
Yeah, this is not fun.
Bro,
One of those.
I'm trying my best.
Damn, I just got assaulted by 3 of them. That was kind of nuts.
Oh,
Wait, why can't I shoot?
Yo, this guy's so ass. Like, bro, aim at the Iron Man and shoot him. It's not that hard.
okay. You know what, guys? I think we got it on the next session.
Thanks so much.
Just not locked in for a second.
Oh shit. Oh shit, go.
A nice deep freeze. I am ready to put on a show.
What?
Namor behind.
Oh my god, Moon Knight. Yeah, that guy fucking sucks, bro. How is this a Lord no more, bro?
Do we have a Namor on our team? Oh, wow.
A Lord one even.
Oh. I got 15,000 healing, man. This is a quick play game.
Bro, our team sucks.
They're actually so bad. Like, I've just been playing healer this whole game.
No,
Yeah, we're not doing anything.
I'm trying to get in this. Like a bank fight.
oh hell no.
Hold on.
Oh no 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 no.
Oh, I get melted. What the fuck?
Yeah, their DPSs are just significantly better than ours. Not a lot we can do about that, to be honest.
Like it's over, guys.
Well, you can't expect to win them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What the fuck is this fucking refugee talking about?
Fuck. Alright, I got a couple more on me. Couple more.
I got a
When
couple
did you switch
more
to
in me as
Angela,
well.
bro? Why are you in Namor aura farming together? What the hell? Why you look like Namor's big sister, bro?
Literally, and I swear to God, their little animations were in unison too.
That's sick. That's sick. Big sister. That's mommy right there.
That's Namor's mommy?
That's mommy, bro.
Okay.
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
I'm more of a Sue Storm type of guy. Slash Luna
That's
Snow.
also
Oh
mom.
God.
Wind, cloud, and
normal.
Also,
storm.
yeah,
Okay.
Storm as
Hear my
well.
command.
Now we're going
Honestly, all of them.
Emma Frost.
Honestly, I was about to say, I was going to say Emma
honestly, all
Frost.
of them.
Nice, I was like,
Except
yeah.
for Penny Parker.
Unless her name's Ellen Law.
Well, I will take the robot.
Why not Penny Parker?
I'll
though?
take the robot though.
Why not Penny Parker?
Not trying.
Because she's 12.
She's like 12, bro.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mutants must protect mutants,
Yeah.
but also all of humanity.
I don't like men.
30 seconds.
Why are you
before
lying,
attack.
bro?
Get ready.
What do you gain from lying? Why are we always on defense, man?
Yeah, fuck, bro. It's so boring when it's on defense.
You can't be that old.
I'm about to log in right now. These guys are not gonna get this fucking
Here,
point.
pay attention.
Yeah, especially with you at
The
DPS.
battle starts in 5, 4, 3.
We got Cloak
Bro,
and
take
Dagger,
matters
we
into
got
his own
Doctor
hands.
Strange, bro. We got Hawkeye, hopefully he's good, bro. If he's not good, then maybe
Yo, we got an Emma Frost too. Look.
Don't have to be humble to be a hero.
I ain't worried about all that, bro.
I will always lend a hand.
Okay.
Double KO.
Yo, they're pretty good.
I think that was pretty good. All things considered.
I liked that. That was probably my highlight right there, to be honest.
What do you mean, bro? It's not over.
Actually,
bro.
you-
We're running back.
They just, yo, maybe they just like dying.
Maybe they're bots, bro.
It could be. If they're playing like it,
We gotta hit them with the Ariel bots now.
might have
We give
to.
them a couple minutes first, so they got 4 minutes for this.
Stop my combat.
Maybe they're just
Yeah, ask them if they're bots.
maybe
Ask
they're
them if they're
trolling.
bots. They might be. Look at them.
Oh no, someone left the game. Wait, what? No, wait. Let me type Ariel bots after I get this cool down.
I will always lend a hand.
Whoa.
What the Yeah,
What happened to you, buddy?
Any healing is good healing.
yeah. Iron Man just kind of like, did his thing.
I lift up my
Yeah,
combat.
I mean, Ultron is doing this thing, to be honest.
Emma Frost is fun. What the fuck?
I will always lend a hand.
Yeah, I played her a little bit once, just for a little bit. She just came out. She's a good character. Plus, when you kick someone into the wall, it's pretty satisfying.
Yeah, and they just die, bro. Like a sushi.
Yeah, I can get a damage boost. Yep.
I fully stole that from you. Oh.
Trying to keep you alive.
Yeah, I know. I was just trying to hide in the bubble, but the bubble disappeared and I died.
Feel the thunder.
They do have very bot-like names. Damn, their Iron Man's got 3 kills, bro. That guy's 4 kills, bro. He might have upgraded his maximum pulse. Damn, he's like chasing. Oh, Duggan's gonna die.
Fuck. I was cooking there too.
I'm not even trying to shoot my teammates. He's doing too much, bro. Anybody feeling fear you. Somebody help me, somebody help me, somebody help me. Thank you. I'm gonna die anyways though. Fuck, Iron Man's just hiding in the corner.
You can't strike down a goddess.
Nice. Nice. Nice.
Wow.
Hey, look, when you're at 100 thing, that fucking thing melts, bro.
What?
When the thing is at 100, that thing just melts, bro.
Well, oh, it does?
Yeah,
It's at 100.
if you keep your number up, when you're holding your damage, like your attack, and it's hitting something, and the number goes up, right?
Oh, yeah.
If it goes up to 100, it does more damage per second, the higher the number is.
I didn't know that.
So if you're in your diamond form, it doesn't go down, so you can use it to like sustain if you're just chilling and waiting for them to come back.
Like an Inferno Tower, bro.
Yeah, it does like, I think it does like 100 damage in like a second or something, 2 seconds or some shit. Something crazy.
Fuck, I had that shit charged up. But I was the only one.
Should we let them get it so we can prolong the game and make them suffer?
Nah, bro, it's just happening to be a real game, bro. Have a tailwind. Oh, I died.
Oh wait, Justin sniped the MVP from me?
That's why you're trying to prolong the game. You're just trying to get MVP.
Storm is rising again.
Yo, this is an MVP sniper.
He probably let you die too.
Whoa, this guy's strong. I guess they got it. Oops.
Oh no.
Oh no, they got it.
They got it, bro.
Oh, Gambit never folds, bro. Oh shit, Gambit never folds, bro. Fuck. Gambit stop folding, bro. Fuck. I run now.
They're brooding. Ah, that was tough. I thought I was going to be able to get that guy.
Oh no. Yo.
Holy.
Fuck,
Can't believe
bro.
I'm
This guy
alive.
does so much damage, bro. He's turning.
I'll keep you alive, Guggen.
I'll just keep doing this?
No, Ultron's healing him while you're healing Guggen. And Guggen's attacking. Yeah, that shit was funny.
Yeah.
How are they out healing me though?
Because Ultron ulted.
Because.
And he was only aiming at Punisher.
I lift up my comrades.
I should have fucking picked him up and slammed him.
Oh, bro. Yeah, this Hawkeye's cooking. I can't lie.
Who's cooking?
Our Hawkeye? He's hitting some good shots, bro.
How is he fucking alive? Oh my god.
That Ultron first.
Oh, my aim, my aim. No.
I'm on heals.
Fuck, I'm dead.
Damn, I'm surprised.
Yeah, the boost was too much, bro.
Maximum pulse.
So what's too much?
The Gambit ult.
Storm is rising again.
I'm gonna have mine pretty soon.
Here's how you shoot.
Okay.
Come on, come on,
Hawkeye, Hawkeye, come on, cook him.
I'll get on it.
How about ult
Fuck
too?
this turret, bro.
I'm gonna get my ult pretty soon, yeah.
Put this guy at the fucking turret. Yeah, bitch. Kill him in his ult. There's Iron Man? Where you hiding? Where you hiding? Where you hiding?
He's behind us. He's behind us.
Yeah, bitch.
Down to 30 seconds.
Who's that? Who's behind us? Magneto? Thunder Strike.
Oh,
Yeah.
I probably didn't even need to do that.
Get greedy, get greedy, get greedy. Oh no. Yo, Iron Fast is in the chat, yo.
10 seconds.
Iron what?
Iron Fast.
Oh.
Let's keep fighting until we have a winner. Another epic victory.
Let's go. Good fucking one.
I was low-key thinking if we
Low-key
prolong it
broken.
a little bit more.
I think almost probably will.
No, they wouldn't even have gotten there in time, bro.
Who's Iron Fist?
That's Louise. It's crazy aiming, bro. Alright, Justin, where do you think your ult's gonna be? I mean, your highlight.
Oh, probably at the start. But let me see.
Yeah, it looks
Let's
like
see.
it looks like the beginning.
Dealing some serious damage.
Cause yeah, I got like a double or a triple kill or something. Yeah, it's alright. This is for the fucking beginning.
Gambit got your got the cooking.
I was low-key cooking.
That's my girl, Ro.
I feel like all of our highlights are gonna be at the beginning of this game.
Yeah, because we just killed the mall already. We aced them.
Oh no,
We got two final hits there.
I don't know where mine is. Towards the end, I guess.
So this is yeah, this is good.
I will always lend a hand.
Okay, what's Guggen cooking? Guggen Team Mule. Oh,
You already know.
his highlight was
Team
the second fight at the beginning of the game.
Let's see. Oh, and they got revived.
Damn.
Yeah, that kick.
Did you even train for this?
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, Emma Frost is pretty good.
She's so fun, bro. What the hell? I didn't know she was
She
fun.
is. She was one of the two tanks I like to play. But I gotta learn her better.
Who's the other tank, bro?
Yeah, I feel like I'm
Penny.
not using the.
Say both of my
Reese, not
Penny's like a
sure.
B minus and my Emma's like a C plus. It's not that great.
I'm not using the melee form well as well.
Yeah, you gotta use that.
Oh, yeah,
to,
shit.
You're a top-notch
to
team
do
to
some
win this
crazy
one.
damage, bro. Just fucking beat the shit.
Yeah,
out of him.
melee form does fucking crazy damage. I feel like it's stronger than DPS.
Yeah, it does a lot. And then if you go into melee form, you can keep your number until you're out of melee form.
Yeah, and you get a fucking cutscene.
Yeah, and you get a cutscene, like you're fucking turning into the Hulk or some shit, bro.
It's crazy.
Her ult's pretty nice too.
Damn, Lord
The
Angela, I
utilization.
have not seen that.
Oh shit.
Minute, bro.
Very
They're the
rare.
two most annoying fucking tanks.
Yeah, I'm about to be an even more annoying character.
When other people first saw my
Oh, they got Dragon Sumball.
a squirrel, and now they're like, ooh, a
Ram up. Ram his up.
Ram his ass.
Straw Hat
30
did.
seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Ram his ass. What the fuck?
There's so many kids playing this fucking game. It's almost like they're the
Why am I
target audience.
bouncing in the
bro.
fucking in the cavern, bro?
Is that a metaphor for something? Is that what you call it when you do that with other men?
Bouncing in the cavern?
Yeah.
What else am I doing right now, bro?
4, 3, 2, 1.
Alright, I'm back.
Yeah, what about in the game, though?
And extract some goodies?
Bouncing on the cavern. I'm simply a bouncer, bro.
You're a bouncer? Oh. How you hate from
Bouncer
outside
on
the club, bro? You can't even get in. Whoa,
Someone's
whoa,
step.
whoa, 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 whoa. Tajin-san?
Damn.
Damn.
Extracting those resources.
And they're Loki kicking our ass, right? Fuck.
It's okay, bro. Hold on. It's a warm-up. It's a warm-up.
Loki. On the lowest of keys. Fuck us up.
Okay, the game is dead.
Very people weak.
Yeah. Me included. Okay, never mind. We're good. We're good.
Great job. You're loading up on resources.
That last acorn's a doozy. Who are y'all fighting? Oh shit.
Haha,
Oh shit.
okay, damn.
Oh shit.
Oh, I'm the only fucking healer, that's why.
Oh shit. I thought we had another healer.
I'm basically DPS. No, we did for like 2 seconds, but they weren't very good. I mean, I'm the only one who has assists.
Holy brother. Look at these frogs. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Tippy Toe. Did you finish the kill? Oh no, you didn't. Yeah.
Looks like resources are running low. Get ready to find another available area. Your team is ready to rumble, baby.
That was a tough one.
You've got competition. Clear the enemies to extract more resources.
Okay, this guy actually solo ulted me.
Yeah, look, we're on B. Or at least me and Namor are on B. They can have that.
Yeah, we extracted the most number of points from that too. We got none left. We might as well go to B.
They got 8 seconds. They got 8 fucking resources on that, bro.
The other team is extracting those resources.
We're gonna get 8 before they even get here, bro.
Next available area. Great job. You're loading up on
I don't catch them
resources.
off. I'm gonna catch them off first.
Good
How do you
news.
find us?
You've stocked
Someone around the
up
corner.
resources
Duggan, you
needed
got
to
that?
win.
Done.
You've got competition. Clear the enemies to
Oh
extract
shit,
more
oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Wolverine's low as hell, bro.
Nice.
Yeah, extract those resources.
Behold, that child!
Can't be holding nothing, dog. Can't be holding these squirrels, bitch.
Oh, yeah. Actually popped her.
You've almost clinched the win! Resources are nearly tapped out here, too. Sorry.
Bitch is weak. Pageant. Yeah.
You'll have to keep fighting until you're a winner. You've got competition.
He's behind you. Kill that bastard.
Yeah, how is this no more not killing invisible woman, bro? This guy sucks, man.
Yeah, seriously. Yo, we had one healer the whole game. We kicked their ass.
All we needed, bro. You get all the heals, bro. Not one GP.
You have double their heals, basically, but I mean, they have double our heals, but you have.
We're actually doing you a favor by making it the only one.
I'm just taking, I'm just too sick.
You got all the assists, but this guy was healing for. Yo, we never had a second healer, bro.
Yeah.
Nobody switched.
Do it. Oh, we never. It was just me from the start. I think maybe they hovered over it in pre-select. That's about it.
That's crazy. Where's this Moise guy, bro? That's the real question.
Yo, Moise he's not coming, no.
Yo.
But I'd be down.
Oh well.
Let me message him. I don't want him to like I was being an ass.
Pick your hero or villain. I'm not judging.
That's not bad. How is it? What about? I got the launch up. Fuck, I was fucking taking the shit right now.
Oh, they got Lekong 420 nuts. That's
I was
no.
116?
Hmm?
The Kong 420 nuts.
He's on our team, bro.
Now you think he's a kid?
Nah, man, I think that's a grown man.
30 seconds.
You think he's a Kong 420 nuts?
Yeah, bro.
They're all mad one, bro.
Yeah, that guy's like 12, bro.
Bro, Jilton 233.
Even these skins kind of have a Zekrom Reshiram effect a little bit.
I take what I want.
The battle starts in 5.
You're seeing it, right?
Something like
A little bit.
Let me fold on you.
Plus our cape.
bro.
Plus our capes are on opposing sides.
Got it?
Dichotomy of it all and shit.
Something like that.
The new Scarlet Witch skin is pretty nice. Sorry, not the Scarlet Witch, Black Widow.
Black Widow? Yeah, I've been looking at that. Lower half.
A little bit. Behind us.
Behind us.
Spider-Man. Oh, sorry, I should have said that.
They have a Magic and a Hawkeye and a Spider-Man. No, they don't Spider-Man. Got an annoying team, though. Oh shit, go get. Oh,
how did I die? Oh, the Hawkeye. Can we kill that Hawkeye? We have a Spider-Man.
Trying, but he has really good heals.
Alright,
oh yeah, dude, now they got Raccoon and fucking Cloak and Dagger. They have really good heals.
They got two annoying fucking characters. Actually, they got a bunch of annoying characters.
Two of the highest healing output champs in the game.
Oh, we lost a player.
Yeah, what's this Thor doing?
Yeah, we'll kill them while they're up here.
Oh, why'd you go down, bro? What the hell?
I was feeling confident.
I'm not gonna lie, bro.
Even though we were outnumbered.
I thought
Bro,
we
I'm
had.
trying to. I'm 1v1ing Thor right now, bro. Somebody help me! Oh my god.
Alright.
Okay, now we got a Daredevil. We got a Chinese name, Chinese letter name. We got Daredevil. And we got Captain America that's running into a wall.
This guy might be Faker.
We got this. We got this. Daredevil, yeah.
Oh, he. Yeah, bitch.
Us against the world.
Oh, hell no. I still healing you now? No way, he's still alive, bro. How did Doctor Strange live? Oh, so my aim is that. That's why. No, that makes sense. Oh,
this isn't good.
No, Guggen, no, Guggen, no.
You were alone. Yeah, they got this, it looks like. Less.
You'll have to keep fighting until we have a
Unless
winner.
what, bro? Yeah, it's over, man.
At least we got Black Creamer on our team.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Good thing, good thing.
They got a hot guy that can aim, bro. It's not looking good for us.
Alright, let's see, we have 6 team members now.
Value all life.
Okay, this might be.
So yeah, I wonder how much money this skin, the Gambit skin, made Ubisoft, because this is like probably licensed first from Assassin's Creed or some shit.
Get ready.
I'd imagine.
I don't know about all that. Isn't it?
No, it's not a comic book skin. It straight up references like Assassin's Creed in the description.
Really?
Yeah, so like I'm sure they're like, you know,
I mean,
some type of fee. And plus Ubisoft. Oh.
Yo, why is Rogue such a baddie, bro? Holy.
Yo, Emma Stone, bro. Sorry, Emma Frost.
Nah, I'm not gonna lie. Yo, Emma Stone also bad.
Emma
but
Frost?
Rogue is bad. I feel like Rogue was always bad though, like in the comics and everything.
That too was. Yo, Moise, you know who else? All of the beach skins. I can't believe they got away with it.
Wait, what? Let me check that.
Bro, oh my god.
Who has the most dangerous beach skin?
Invisible Woman, Mantis, or fucking...
How do I check it?
You're pretty quick with that.
Go to the characters, like on your heroes list, and just look at the cosmetic, like the skins that are available.
Yeah, go to heroes, hover, and then cosmetics you can like hover.
Or go to
over
the
it.
shop if you want to like just goon it out.
Okay, let me check Angela. Angela, let me see your cosmetics.
Oh, you're just gonna get dominated by Angela. You and Guggen the same for real. Love that.
Okay.
Wait, why isn't Guggen talking?
You can hear me.
You make him nervous, bro.
What? Oh, I can barely hear Guggen. Do I have to turn him up?
You gotta turn him on, yeah.
It's because he's playing the game with one hand. That's why.
Are you actually? What?
Yeah.
He's jerking it,
The other hand's in my pants.
Oh, yes. Yo, how's the cat?
It's definitely something. It's cold though.
What? Oh.
I'm not in contact.
I guess they're not far from you. Like, you're not far from us.
Yeah. I'm not in contact.
Because they're northern.
I'm in Auburn Hills though. Home of the Pistons.
Home of the who?
Pistons. Detroit Pistons.
Oh, home of the pissing.
That was my highlight.
Oh, is Daredevil sick? Have you guys played Daredevil yet?
Yeah,
Why you got booted
he's
up?
really good.
He's pretty sick. Yeah,
I
but
haven't played him, but like he gets banned a lot because he's strong. Manir plays him a little bit.
yeah, he's pretty sick, bro.
Word.
Yeah,
Wait, I don't see a like a beach. Does Emma Frost have a?
Nah, Emma Frost is not a beach skin, bro.
Who has a beach skin, bro?
Luna Snow, Mantis.
Doesn't Invisible Woman have a
Psylocke,
beach?
Invisible Woman.
Let me see this beach skin.
Punisher.
Yeah.
The Thing.
Alice is crazy.
I'm just telling him the guys, like he's gonna look at those.
He might.
Yo, let me see the Ting.
Punisher,
Let me
bro.
see that
The thong, you mean, bro?
The thong. Wait, does he have the thong?
Yeah.
Wait, what are you guys talking about? Again, I don't see no feet.
Yeah.
Are you thinking, bro?
If only you could share your screen, Moise. Only Discord is there.
Yo, it's not for everyone. Man. It's not for
If we could
It's
only
not for
go to
everyone.
the
Clearly, it's not for everyone. Who else? He said Luna Snow.
Yeah.
No.
What's she cooking? Rich?
You naughty boy.
That's like your other main character, bro. It's Luna Snow and Iron Fist.
Nah, no more Iron Fist, bro.
Now you're on Daredevil?
Yeah.
Yo, come on, don't. Yo.
What?
Let me try
Yo,
Daredevil.
Moise, Leo,
Yeah?
what about Rocket Raccoon?
Yeah, shut up. Yo, let me see this.
Bro, how are you not seeing it, bro? I don't understand.
Bro, I want to be scared.
Bro, how are you looking at these skins, bro? What are you cooking?
I'm on the heroes thing.
Yeah.
And then I clicked cosmetics.
Yeah.
Doesn't
But they
it show
don't
up?
have-
And then you
Like,
look,
what's it called?
and then you
It's
just
called a
look
beach
at the
skin.
options.
Okay,
The ones that you
Moise,
don't
once this
have-
game
the
wraps
ones that
up,
you don't
like,
have
I'll
unlocked, you know?
walk through this step by step.
I see, okay, so for Invisible Woman, I see Malice, I see Foundation,
Oh, you're gonna see it.
First
Bro.
Family.
I don't understand how you're not seeing it.
Is it
Yeah,
Malice?
sure.
Is that the one?
No, it's not Malice, bro. She's literally in a fucking bikini, bro. What are you talking
Yo,
about?
there's definitely no comments.
Nah, you're
I'll tell you that much. Does Hella have one?
no, bro. That's got some nice
Oh,
skins, though. Black Widow got some nice
Yeah.
skins, bro.
Black Widow got a nice one recently.
You guys are so. Don't you all have, except for Munir, all have girlfriends? Come on, guys. Have some decent.
Why are you gonna
Yeah.
sing about Munir like that?
I'm a single
Because
lady,
he's
bro.
the only one who's allowed. He's the only one who's allowed.
Oh,
What if I'm gay? Are you ever thinking about
what's
that?
up, bro?
Yeah. Black Widow's got some cake. Yo, they can't be doing this. They can't get away with it.
Yeah, it's like kids game, bro. And like,
It's literally a kid's game.
for real.
Bro, I kid you guys not. I do not have this.
You kid us not?
I don't have-
Yo, Alan's not gonna fuck with you, bro.
No, Alan allowed to.
Yo, Moise, we all hung out
Yeah.
with Tulsi pretty recently.
No
And we
way,
put him
how
on
was
the-
that?
we all- bro, we let him know that Alan's a rapist.
Oh no, what did he think of that?
He's like,
He was like,
damn.
yo, you just like me for real.
Oh, what is he up to?
What isn't? He's going to Costa Rica next week.
We'll see.
I am ready
Yeah.
to put on a show.
Good for him.
He's going to be catching all of the wines.
No. Fuck.
No way we didn't take that shit over.
Yo, we're not losing this, guys.
Yo, you guys could have told me you were in the game. Let's continue my other game.
Yeah, it's about to be over, bro. I can't lie to you.
Dude, just leave that game over. They don't need you anymore.
Yeah, it's over. It's over,
Nope.
bro. Yo, this Chinese Daredevil was cooking, bro. He came in and he started cooking.
Iron
Wait, we
Fast.
Yo, he did become the ace.
Well, you can't
Is the game done?
Yeah.
Should I hop back
Yeah.
on?
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
Bro, did you see the skins we were talking about?
Oh, that's what I'm telling
Okay, go to Twitch right now. Open Twitch.
Yo! Bro, okay. I haven't downloaded it.
I'll show you something, bro.
Alright, I'm locking in. But Moon. Alright, are you live right now?
Yeah.
Yo, Sahal needs to pull up.
Who do you want to see,
Yo,
bro?
yeah, I can hear.
Who do you want to see?
From Luna Snow first.
No way. Alright, show me, bro.
Guna Snow? Alright. So I got the... Oh fuck, where's the beach skin?
Yo,
Wait.
I don't see it there either.
Wait, what? Did they get rid of it?
You liar.
Yo, is it limited time only? Like, actually?
If y'all really want to see it, I can show you.
Yo, Guggen, please.
Bro bought the skin.
No, Guggen's wearing the skin.
Guggen's doing cosplay again. No.
I have a lifestyle. No, bro.
You have a lifestyle? What did you say, bro? Hold on.
I don't have a body pillow.
Bro, where the fuck are these skins, bro? Ain't no way they were limited like
Yeah.
that. Limited, bro. Fuck.
Yo, it's popping now.
Okay, hold on. Do I have any of them?
They stripped Rogue.
Damn, I
Yo, the
don't-
new
let me try
magic skin's
Rogue.
pretty goon heavy. That's it.
The new magic.
Alright, I don't care. I don't care to.
The pink one, bro?
I don't care to work
little
for
bit.
it. It's there. It's there.
I see it. I
Yeah.
see it.
I mean...
The Psylocke
What's the
skin's
word?
always a little bit goon heavy.
Alright, yo, who's inviting me to a game?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I started googling my fault.
Motherfuckers just started gooming.
Gooming.
Stop gooming.
Stop gooming.
Yeah,
Yo,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Look at my screen, though.
Wait. I hopped off the chain.
No, hop back on the thing, bro. Let me show you something, bro.
Yeah, I'm on the chain again.
Let me show you something, bro.
Alright, show me something, bro.
No, if you Google Luna Snow, the second thing that comes up is Summer Skin.
Who's this?
Crazy.
Bro,
Storm?
look at this, bro.
You're digging this storm. Man.
Hey, bro. You're not digging that? You're not trying
What? I'm trying to what?
trying to dig in that?
What the hell?
What the hell? Hold on, where's the Black Widow one?
What the hell?
Oh my god, yo. Moise, look at what I'm just about to send you.
Is she
This
the
like
only
a
black?
freeze frame.
What's that, Justin?
What I just sent you is a freeze frame from her like MVP animation. I can't believe they made that.
You're killing me, bro. Is this Luna Snow?
Yeah, I can't believe they actually
no.
made it. That's a free. That's pretty goon heavy
Yeah,
right there.
no,
You see
it's
that?
definitely goon heavy, bro.
Nah, you're a demon for having freeze frame, buddy.
Yeah, bro.
Maybe freeze frame. I just googled Luna Snow summer skin. And it's the third thing that came up, man.
All right, but
Yeah,
okay.
This is the Invisible Woman's skin. You can kind of see it, bro.
I'm telling your Bodmon girlfriend.
Damn it, she's gonna beat me up.
Oh yeah, she's gonna beat you.
All right, are you ready to play this game, guys?
All right, yeah, let's run.
All right, everybody, get your second hand out on the game on the controller.
Come on, Guggins.
What happened?
Get your second hand on the keyboard.
Using both hands.
Yo, Guggin, how's school been? Or work, I guess.
Pretty chill. Yeah, it's pretty much work, honestly.
Yeah. What's anything special? Anything exciting happen yet?
Pick your
Exciting?
hero.
Yeah, like anything
I'm
cool.
not judging.
Shit, like I've been doing like a lot of shit.
Oh, I can hear you so much better now.
You've been taking shits, bro?
I've been feeling like been involved in so many procedures. It's actually crazy.
Okay. Yeah. Yo, wait, you can't play as Rogue? You play as Gambit?
Rogue's not in the game until next update.
Bro, why'd they play me like
so like
that?
2
Alright,
weeks.
guys, I'm gonna try this guy.
You got it, bro. He's blind though, so you're gonna have to.
Listen, Moise doesn't play with his eyes.
Wait, is he actually blind?
He's like a combination of like Iron Fist and like Black Panther, I guess.
Spider-Man? Oh, okay.
Wait, you gotta close your eyes. You gotta close.
Get ready.
Oh, my eyes are closed, doing it. Thank you for looking out.
Yeah, Moise, don't you like my Assassin's Creed fit?
How do I do a righteous cross? How did he do that?
So you press. Oh yeah, I don't know. You're not a keyboard. Bro,
I'll have to let the devil out?
Yeah, you have to let the devil out, and then you can choose between Devil's Cross or the other option, whatever it's called.
Right, Justice Jab. Justice Jab is so goofy. Look at my Justice Jab lights.
Yeah, that's what
I'm jabbing Justice.
You're jabbing Justice, bro?
Okay, wait, I haven't tried anything else. Oh, whoa. Okay.
Yeah, so when
What
you're
does that
when you're
do?
close to someone, you can see people through walls. So you like you can target them
Oh,
through
sick.
walls.
Yeah. And I can latch onto them?
Yeah, you can dash on them like Iron Fist, and then you can use your righteous cross and shit, bro.
Lock onto a target. Oh, I can lock onto them for okay. Then okay, I'll just figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, when I play Daredevil, I just they're spamming buttons, bro.
Okay, word.
Bro, can I hit anything? Oh my god. Becky, look at her butt.
Oh, I got someone.
Yo, maybe cooking.
Oh, I got someone. Wait, save me.
Yo, Mahuna.
Respect. Who am I fighting now? Oh, I missed him. Oh,
Come on, bitch.
Oh yeah, we got her. Wow,
Nah, that wasn't good enough.
You're angry.
I wanted a quad kill.
Yo, they're all back.
Where are they?
Yo, Moise, the other day, I almost had an Octa kill.
Octa, brother. That's pretty
It was
nice.
nice.
Alright, I'm
Yeah,
Sonic
like-
pursuing. I'm Sonic pursuing, boys. Oh no.
Yo,
You going Sonic
don't
mode?
Sonic Pursuit, but they're all there, bro. Please, you're gonna die.
Ah, help me! I died.
Help me. If you know, you know. If you know, you know.
That was a really good.
They don't know, bro. They don't know.
I do like
Break
this
that thing.
Daredevil.
Somebody help me.
Help me!
I'm gonna die.
I'm the only healer, man. I'm
Yeah,
dying.
I'm dead.
I'm coming.
I'll switch to
You're the
you.
only healer?
Oh.
Oh my god, that's so mean.
I suppose that
I'm here. I'm on site.
Yeah, we had
Oh,
no.
yeah.
Black Widow can heal, bro. Black Widow can heal.
Oh, help! Oh yeah.
Black Widow's not healing, bro.
Oh yeah. What? Oh, I'm dead. I died it.
Yo, why did you die? Oh
dead.
no, everybody's dying.
I'm a dead man.
Fuck, everybody's dying, bro.
Fuck, should I be a healer? I need
No.
a healer.
Please
No?
keep playing Daredevil. We don't need another healer.
Oh shit.
Yo, damn, bro. This confidence is crazy.
Yo, where the fuck?
He's confident.
Oh,
Yeah.
Focus.
Yo, if you were sick, you wouldn't have lost.
No.
lost that.
No. I'm dead. No, honestly, I bricked it, bro. If I killed Storm the first time, bro, I would have been going crazy.
Oh, I died, guys. Dead.
I want to see how I died there. Fuck. A lot of damage at once.
It's okay, bro. We're at 99%, bro. It's okay. Oh wait.
Yeah, just one push as a team.
All right, let's go as a team.
Wait for me.
Hey.
Let's wait for Guggen. Let's wait for Guggen.
Hey.
Whoa.
Please, Munir. I mean,
This guy. Yeah, Squirrel Girl was going
Okay.
crazy, bro.
I'm there. Can I Sonic Pursuit? That Sonic Pursuit there, ass?
hey, Muiz, just keep doing what you feel best. You know?
Yeah, I only got one kill.
Okay.
I'm dead. I died. I'm dead.
Did he even hit anybody, bro? What the fuck? Oh, hell no.
Oh, that's
Oh,
gonna
hell
hurt.
no.
No. Yo, Squirrel Girl actually a problem, bro.
Yeah, she is.
I have my ult, though. Should I ult?
No.
Reborn again.
No?
Good time.
No,
Damn.
you're by yourself, bro.
We did nothing there. What's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. My ult didn't do anything for some reason.
Can we go around?
Yeah.
Their team's capture progress has passed the halfway point.
Alright. Tell me when you guys are ready.
I'll make a noise.
I'm gonna go in from here.
Oh.
Alright, I'm locked in.
Go.
Oh, I died.
Oh, that's not good. That's not good.
I died.
Watch out. Everybody better get cooked up, bro.
I'm a good guy.
I did the thing.
Trying to heal you, Guggen.
Wow, what is all this damage from?
You're welcome.
Squirrel Girl.
They've almost got it.
Squirrel Girl, Storm with the damage boost. Fucking Scarlet Witch, bro.
Oh yeah, who's healing me? You're lit.
Bro,
Oh,
this
man.
fucking bitch. Why is she not dead?
No way, dude. No way.
Yeah, it's
dude.
over.
Everybody's dying.
Oh, no.
No, we'll win the next one. We'll get two. We have two healers now. With Munir.
Yeah, we'll have 2 healers on it.
Let's keep fighting until we have a winner.
Bye bye.
Baby, bye. Aw, we lose. We lose, guys.
We lose it.
Lose it.
Gosh, darn it.
Oh, bro. My stomach is cooked today. I don't know why.
When the chips
Did
are
you
down,
cook- wow.
did you cook
want
it,
your
bro?
heroes a little roguish and scruffy, like me.
Yeah, why though?
Baby, bye.
Yo, why is your stomach cooked, bro?
Bye.
Why is this not cooked though?
Yo, why is your stomach
I'm consuming some. Ooh, what's that? Ooh.
Yo, what do you think? Yo, rate my skin, man.
Where are you? Your skin? Isn't this the normal?
Yeah, what do you think?
Yo, it's fire.
I don't think so.
I like it.
Here, I'll give you a better view, bro. Come on.
Where are you?
The battle starts in 5.
Where are you? Where'd you go?
Here,
on
on
the table? He's on the table.
2,
Oh, hell yeah.
1.
Hell
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
All you
Hello.
need to do is capture
Hello.
the mission area.
Hello, baby.
Hello.
From what I hear about
Hello.
this Doom character, I don't think I'm gonna like him very much.
Where we headed?
Okay, should I switch to pen?
I'll patch you up.
You can do whatever you want, bro.
Someone scratch my back.
I don't like them.
Oh yeah. They don't know. Oh, healers? I'm dead.
tried.
It's okay. I was in there. I was in the thick of it. Into the thick of
In the
it.
thick of it? Yo.
Into the thick of it.
What do you think of it?
Yep, that's the right one.
Backyardigans is great. It was a good show, man.
Bro, there's
Backyard again. Oh shoot! Hey, there's bear mans there, and there's none of us.
Bear mans? They're
There's 5 of
bears?
them. They're bears. I'll wait for you guys. Hey, hi, hello.
I thought you meant bear as in naked.
Bare naked movies.
I'll patch you up.
Oh, I'm dead.
You went a little deep.
Yeah, yo, he doesn't have a good exit strategy.
Just use the fucking grapple, bro. The rope shit, bro.
They're spitting into the thick of it.
Yeah, we got this, we got this, we got this. I believe in us. Yeah, why are you just standing there, bro? Why are you just standing there, bro?
Okay, I was just learning, bro. Allow me to learn, bro. Can a man not learn? God forbid a brown boy learn.
Not the time to learn, bro.
Yo, God forbid a brown boy try to learn, bro.
Yeah, bro. God did forbid that.
They don't want to see us winning, bro. Oh, they don't want to see you winning. They want to see you in a penitentiary. You know, baby, we gon' listen. Oh yeah, we got her. We got her. Who's next? Who's next? Who's next?
Oh hell
We're next.
no!
Oh,
Oh hell
he automotive
no!
me. He automotive me.
There are 3 of us there, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Landy's cheese. Okay, I have ult. I have ult. Let me
Bro, everywhere I go, it's just some more bullshit, bro. I can't fucking live.
Everywhere we go,
People wanna know.
people wanna know.
Bro! Nah, this bitch takes the shit out of me, bro.
You're on my radar.
Capture progress has passed the halfway point.
Yeah, this Iron Man kinda sucks, bro.
Hey, what's he cooking over there? Should I ult?
Sure, bro.
Go for it. We can combo ult.
I'm dead. I'm there. I'm there. I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
Oh, you live. Let's go.
I'm doing
Let's
it.
go. Iron Man's cooking. Iron Man's cooking. Iron Man's cooking.
Where are they? Bro, where are these guys?
They're dead, bro. It's just Invisible Woman. Oh, fuck. One is back. One is back.
He's almost dead.
One is back.
Oh, not the wrath.
What does that mean?
Don't want to feel the wrath of the goddess, bro.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Trying to keep you alive. I'm trying to keep you alive.
I'm trying to run.
You're going towards the wrong
He's weak.
direction, buddy.
Why is that also a thing?
Hold it down. Hold it down. Hold it down. Hold it down. Hold it
I need
down.
healers. I need healers.
Why is Cloak
Oh,
all the way
in your
behind?
house because of you.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back.
I didn't know Cloak was behind us, bro.
I didn't know either. I was too busy with many other things.
Yeah, that was my fault,
Hey,
bro.
hey, guys. Hey, guys. We're cooking him. We're cooking him. We'll get his ass. We'll get him. Who's next? Who's next? Tell me who's next. Where'd she go? Oh.
A couple of us died there. We should back up a little bit.
Yeah, we got her. We got her. Oh! I'm trapped. I'm trapped. I'm gonna consume some fury, you know what I'm saying? Oh no. Oh yeah, I'm out. Yo, leave my boy alone.
Ah, it's tough.
Oh,
I'm gonna
God,
die.
no.
Oh,
no, 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 no,
again.
no, 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 no.
Oh, round.
How did we not win that?
Oh, I almost made it out.
Okay, we have like one push.
Yeah, that was tough. Yeah, that's
We have 2 ults.
that's okay, yo.
2 DPS ults. You almost have ult, Justin? Okay. We
Come on,
can
guys.
I do almost have
we can
ult.
we can actually do this. Iron Man's dead.
We have to get some time on there, though.
Yeah,
Got it, we got it, we're there.
I'm healing you if you go in.
Come on, boys.
Okay, let's go. Let's go. I'm ulting. I'm ulting. Let's go. Push.
Alright. Oh, I got frozen.
Okay, day portal.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah.
Are we in it? Are we in it? We talk about in it.
I'm talking
Talk about in it.
Yeah, Spider-Man's still around here somewhere. Okay, never mind. He's doing
Oh yeah, I got his ass. I'm on him. I dashed.
One more.
Alright, guys. One more time.
No more playing around. No more Mr. Nice Guy.
Celebrate.
Some of my best friends are crooks in
How am I not MVP?
What's that?
How am I not MVP?
What you say?
I think it's a skill.
That you only met one.
Seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Well, of course we did.
Yo, what can you see when you're? What can you see?
Yeah, if I look up,
Yeah.
Oh, I can climb walls?
yeah, just ass, bro.
Yeah, ass, I
What?
guess.
Big cheeks,
I didn't know I could climb walls.
bro. Me too,
We're
bro.
lit.
We can climb walls together.
Thanks, bro.
Come up here with me, bro.
Battle starts in 5,
Where are you?
4, 3, 2,
Oh, you're up there? Yeah.
Yeah, Moise, imagine just like pulling up on the wall and surprising the enemy.
Instead of
Like, yeah,
instead
that's-
of doing
that's what
what
I'm
you're
saying.
doing.
Some guerrilla warfare type shit.
Specifically.
Gorillas. Gorillas. Oh no. Alright, I'm going in. Going around. I'm gonna guerrilla warfare there.
So guys, very serious question. Who would win in a fight? 100 gorillas or one saw here chuckle?
Not here. Not here wins.
I don't know, but you might need more gorillas, bro. You might need,
Well,
like,
that's what a lot
might
of
need
people
100
say.
King Kongs, actually.
Probably, yeah.
Next.
Oh, excellent, excellent veneer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Did you let the devil out? Oh shit.
I did.
Yo, get out of the fucking thing, bro.
They're not dying.
Because you're in 2 healing ults, bro.
I know they're not dying though. I'm dead.
They're in 2 of their healing ults, bro.
Oh, that's why they were not dying.
Bro, you're in a cloak and dagger ult inside of an invisible woman ult, bro.
We were lit.
And using your ult,
We're
asking
lit.
why they're not dying, bro. What?
Awa.
Humana.
Get in here, yo. Get in here, fam.
Oh shit, Dougie. Oh shit, Justin.
Sorry guys. I'm coming.
Yeah.
Are you dead?
These fuckers really
shit,
chased
you
me,
died.
but I got the you got the revive.
Oh,
but there's alt
Oh, I got out of there.
I'm Duggan right now, bro.
Fucking climber.
Oh yeah, I'm out of here.
Oh no, we lost him.
Okay.
How did we do that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Scarlet's weak.
Bro, the fucking squirrel girl is just doing some damage randomly.
Oh. Oh yeah, saved myself. Oh
Save
hell.
myself is crazy, bro.
Yeah, yeah. Do you not
When
see
we're
me
both
heal?
chasing you, healing the fuck out of you right now.
Oh, respect. Who am I fighting now?
Everybody.
Oh yeah, I cooked him. Did I cook him? I win. We win. We're winners. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. Bro, what the?
Bro, what are you climbing walls up to, bro?
Oh, we got him.
Showed him.
Yeah. Who's next?
Cook
Where'd
that
she go?
frog, cook that frog. There you go.
Got her. I did it, guys. I did something.
Let's back up a little bit.
Coming back onto site. I need to build my fury. He's on my radar.
I
He's on my
understand.
radar. On my radar.
I'm gonna ult.
Alright, tell us. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh no! Aw. I got frozen.
Yeah, they're doing a lot.
Oh.
They're doing a whole lot.
I ult as well.
We also did a lot.
We did.
Coming.
No!
Should I ult this?
Fuck. Almost killed
I don't like that.
It's okay though. Well done, Veneer.
Alright, I'm ulting.
Nice. Good shit. Holy.
Who's next? We win?
It's over.
We're winners.
We did.
We won, bro. You
We're
moved.
winners.
Actually, you understand it now.
I understand it.
Yeah, this might be your character, bro.
You're okay.
You might be. You
Nah,
might
I'm
be.
just
Mui-
button
you
mashing.
might have to change your name to Mui's Murdoch, bro.
Yo, we're not. Iron Fast. No longer am I Iron Fast.
We're upgraded.
MVP, Gambit. He's a healer?
Alright,
Yeah.
that was it for me,
Yeah.
guys.
You're done?
You're done?
Yeah, I gotta wake up early.
Alright, bro.
Boo. But I'm still on. If you're all still on.
Yeah, I could do a couple more. This guy Amit, bro. This guy's washed, bro. This guy Muiz comes back, he's like putting up numbers, bro.
Facts. They don't know who I am. It's cause Daredevil the GOAT. The GOAT. He's the GOAT. Daredevil is the GOAT. Help me, help.
Help me, help me.
Yeah, no, you're
It's-
Moise Murdo. That's what's his last name? Murdaunt?
Murdoch, yeah.
Murdoch. Okay.
Matt Murdoch.
You'll need a
You know, I'm not. I wouldn't be mad. I
This
wouldn't be
one.
mad. I like Electra.
Murdoch?
She's a baddie.
Electra?
Yeah, she's a baddie. I'd eat her.
Huh. I like Rogue. She's a baddie, and yeah, honestly, I think I like Gambit more than I like Loki.
You're like more than you like
You're
Loki.
gay. Yo, Loki has a beach skin. Loki has a beach skin too, by the way.
No way. Is it lit?
Yo, Loki.
Yo,
has
guys,
some
be
slutty-ass
honest.
Skins, honestly, his Phoenix can
Be
be
honest.
slutty too, but yeah,
Yeah,
I'll be
he's
honest.
got
Be
some.
honest.
He's got some slut skins, bro.
On this.
Slot? Why not? Yo, Moose, you ever played this map before, bro? When was the last time you played this game? Don't even
Oh, is it new?
Nah,
This is old, yo.
it's like a season 3 map.
30 seconds before you attack.
Hakoa and Arako.
This is when Ultron came. This is when Ultron came out.
Yeah, I think I played that.
The smartest man on the planet, Richards.
Damn. Moise, do you know who the Dark Magician is?
No, Gambit.
I'm scanning you guys.
Yeah, man, that shit, that username's definitely been taken a long. That would have been a sick one, the Dark Magician.
The battle starts in 5,
Oh, you like that one?
4, 3,
He's a Yu-Gi-Oh!
2,
Card.
Oh, Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah. Blue Eyes White Dragon type shit.
Exactly. I keep
what
a
the
Blue
hell?
Eyes White Dragon in my wallet.
Nice.
never know.
How'd I get hit? There. Not even playing it. Tell these guys to cool it, no? Oh yeah, we're gonna cook her. We're gonna cook her. Yo, where are these healers at? Let's get their healers.
Oh, Moise, now you're speaking like a pro.
This guy's speaking like a nice dive DPS now, bro. You love to hear it.
Oh, I got him.
Oh!
Come on, almost.
Yo, Hawkeye's low.
Fuck. Where is he? Let's get his ass.
Right here.
No, I don't want this thing. Oh, I got 8. What?
Same mistakes again.
You got oh fuck.
Was that not on our team?
No more?
Oh,
No, we don't have that.
no more.
That's on the other
you're
guy, bro.
halfway there. Keep
We not have that.
Did you fucking lock onto his squids, bro?
Yeah.
Oh,
You're so silly.
Is it cooked, guys?
you're so silly, goofy, bro.
I'm a goofy goober. Yeah, 2 times. Yeah, 3 times. Yeah. Where are you? Come here.
This guy's gonna fucking die. Or he's just gonna let us get objective.
the checkpoint. Keep up the momentum.
And
Yeah, I'm
then
playing
that-
objective, guys. I'm not playing no games. Goofy goopers, yeah. Oh yeah, cooked her. Next, who's next?
Bro, I keep thinking our Emma Frost is just joking, bro.
Cooked her. Oh yeah. Next, who's next?
Who's next?
Where'd he go? Oh, he ate me.
That scoundrel. That rocket ult saved them.
No, Emma Frost! Yo, I was about to actually do some crazy numbers, bro.
Get that vehicle moving again.
Don't mess with the amazing
Oh.
Spider-Man!
It's not done.
Oh, let me out.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
Fort Bingus. I have ult, boys. I have ult.
Okay, well don't use it now.
Where's his ass?
He's like, you got him, Moise.
About this 1v1.
Judge, jury, executioner!
Almost there. Don't turn back now.
No way he cooks me. Oh, he won! Beat me.
They cooked you?
You know what you want.
Only one? No way, dude.
Where is everyone, Tom?
Ah, I'm gonna die. Where am I?
My work here is not done. Now, a disappearing.
Uh-oh. Alright, I have ult. On the hunt, guys.
Okay, I think we got this
I am
one.
saving the mutant Ultron. Vehicle reached the checkpoint. Keep up the momentum.
Oh. Oh yeah, we got it now.
Oh, I'm dead. Fuck. Nice.
Oh yeah. Got sealing you, lit.
I won't
Jeffrey.
make the same mistakes.
Jeffrey.
Lord Bingus.
You're not going anywhere.
Oh, what the hell?
Don't mess with the
Oh,
amazing
that's not good.
Spider-Man!
A disappearing.
Oh,
He died? Oh,
Yeah.
he died? Oh,
yeah. Ulted and then he used spider web.
I know, I saw it, bro.
Don't let anything stand in your way. A disappearing.
Thought I got away and everything.
I have my ult still.
Yeah, wait for some healers around you.
Oh, I got 8. What the hell?
Wait until there were some healers around you.
Reborn from the chaos.
Well, how did she
Actually,
do
both
that?
healers were around, I think.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, I just got 8 by the Emma Frost.
Let's just avoid that, and then I'm gonna ult and slow push. Damn.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Overwrites all of Oracle.
If we could somehow combo Emma ult plus Moise ult, and then mine as well, that'd be kind of dangerous.
Fuck, I got.
I'm gonna ult.
Okay, nice.
Oh no, I'm dead. Yeah, we're lit.
Oh, fuck. I'm gonna die,
Oh.
Where the fuck is this Iron Man?
I see.
Bro. I'm gonna get him.
This is
Oh, I died.
tough.
Nah, I didn't realize Iron Man was this much of a problem.
Be right there.
Is he new?
I don't know. It's their ace, but I don't know how.
Or was he playing something else before him?
Yeah,
then?
that's why I don't know. That's why I'm saying.
That vehicle moving again. A disappearing.
Hey, you get close to him. You're the one that can like best take
I know.
care of
I'm
him.
trying.
I'm here, boys. I'm doing
I
some.
got him.
Nice. We have motion now.
I'm a frost. But she's back.
Oh, let me out.
How did she out and she's only backing up, bro?
Oh, I don't like
Oh,
this.
shit.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot going on. Uh-oh.
Oh my god, bro. It didn't do anything.
Maximum pulse!
Oh shit. Okay. That might be my.
Oh, I got 8.
Here is not done.
5
Hey.
hands at me.
You're not going anywhere.
Here we fucking go.
Ah.
Chaos control. Goodbye. Careful. So close. You were under my spell.
Oh, I died.
Goodbye.
No. Iron Man's like one shot, bro. Fuck.
That's tough.
Yeah, it's tough. Why are you just standing there, bro?
Oh.
Lock in.
Reborn
I
from
was
the
dead.
chaos.
No, you're standing there in the spawn, bro. I saw you.
Now I'm alive.
Now, a disappearing act.
Bro was just looking at the Guna snow skins for too long.
Was. I have ult. I have ult.
You're not going anywhere.
Wait for us.
Where is everyone?
Dead.
It's been removed from play. Only 60 seconds left.
Yeah.
Get that beat moving again. You are there. Feeling stronger already.
Damn.
So it begins.
Okay.
Fucking more now, bro.
Ah! Healer?
Okay, good. Mui's ult now.
I died. I had
That's
7 health
okay.
and then I got.
Okay, we don't need your ult anyways.
Alright,
Loki, it's
fine,
a
I
good
don't-
thing, yo. If you save it, it's good, bro. We don't actually.
I don't want to use it. I don't want to use it.
Oh, where the fuck does Moon Knight come
want-
from? What the hell?
Don't worry, I was gonna take care of
Yo,
him.
he killed me. He killed me.
Oh, that's what he was doing, bro. Nah, you're actually good. You baited him off the point, then, bro. You did good, bro. Lord Bingus.
Lord Bingus. Bingus.
Who's Lord Vingus?
Our Jeff.
Better stop that vehicle.
Oh.
Lord Bingus.
Yo, I actually can't believe that the fucking beach skins were limited, bro.
Might have to grab one then.
How, bro? They're limited.
They'll come back at some point, you know what I mean? They always do that.
Next summer, bro?
Oh, do they?
I don't know.
Yo, I gotta take a picture. This is so funny.
They're saying
You know how
this.
it gives you like the instructions on how to level up like your Lord progression? It's in
Yeah.
fucking Chinese.
What?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Why?
That's
pretty
right.
funny.
Why is it in China?
Where does it give you that instruction?
Let me show
I
you.
think it's proficiency.
No, I don't wanna
The
see it.
Proficiency tab,
Okay.
bro.
Oh, it's proficiency. Yeah, go to hero profile, and then at the very back, it's proficiency.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro. My shit's definitely in English.
Yeah, I just sent you a photo.
I believe you, bro. Yeah, but they're saying next summer they're gonna drop the Emma Frost beach skin, bro. And
No way.
And that's gonna make millions, bro.
It might actually. Dude, how much money do you think they made off these fucking beach skins?
Bro.
That's funny. I don't know. $700.
700.
A lot of dollars.
Hey, bro.
Hey, bro, help me.
Help me. Help me. Alright, one more?
Yeah, I'm down for
2 more. Oh.
2 more. Okay, I'm down for 1 more.
2 more? Okay, I'm down for 1 more.
Okay, down. I'm down. Yo, guys, I'm down.
Alright, fine. I'll just look at the Gooner skins for like 10 hours.
10 hours.
Why are you cutting back
Yeah, when I
on,
said,
on your normal average, bro?
Yes. Why are you slacking, bro?
Why are you slacking, bro?
Yeah, in reality, I only need like 10 seconds anyways.
You only need
Oh
10
yeah.
seconds.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
In this one.
You know what I mean?
Damn, Darjay almost thought he had that, bro.
Yeah.
You
this
insta
doesn't
locked it?
understand.
Alright.
I'm the Dark Magician, bro.
I think we should do 5 DPSs in Gambit.
Listen, man. We could.
I want to be a healer, actually.
I need a healer.
I want to be invisible.
She's nice. And she's also good at the game.
She's also got a beach skin.
Funny.
Yeah, Moise, I'm just so crazy, man. You can't take me anywhere.
You're so crazy.
What's
You're
it
so
called?
quirky and crazy.
I'm playing with them.
Especially
They said they're
around public
mad,
schools,
so
that's
they're
where
playing
you
Black
can't
What
Widow.
the hell?
You can't. Like, you know,
And they're
by law.
trolling.
Yeah, I shielded my boy.
Alright, it doesn't fucking matter, it's a quick play.
Did everyone
Shut
miss
up.
me while I was off soaring through the stars?
You think I know how to play this tank?
Why is
Fuck
it
no.
yapping,
We
bro?
just didn't have a tank, so I thought I'd
Yeah,
learn
just
someone
know,
new.
Gambit pulls off heists. Do you guys know anyone
Smart.
else that
Oh my
may
God,
or may
I
not
love
have pulled off a
you.
heist, allegedly?
Yeah.
You're cooking, you're cooking, bro.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the missionary.
Anyone know how to
Alright,
play
guys,
her?
I'm healing.
Where'd all your health go, guys?
Yeah,
Bet.
what the
I'm gonna just try
Bro, I'm
and
a healer,
like,
I'm a healer.
dash into someone, I think.
Alright, I'm gonna pull someone in. Oh, I missed. Good heal.
The whole damn team need. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Alright, are you ready? Alright, I pulled one in,
Oh,
You guys, use the
What are you
pull.
talking about? Who are you talking about, bro?
I pulled someone,
Where, bro?
but you guys didn't do anything, bro.
Bro, it probably didn't pull him.
And then
right
Black
now.
Widow died.
Oh, okay, so
we also do have a black one.
Oh no.
Problem.
Oh my god. Oh, I died.
oh, my aim is atrocious.
Moise, you ever try a Squirrel Girl? I feel like you'd like Squirrel Girl.
Thanks for the boost. I've spotted a sniper.
Alright, guys. I think it's time for me to switch characters.
Angela got a kill.
It was on Earth that I truly learned what it was to become a hero.
That's crazy.
Paca and XD, bro.
Yeah, couldn't get more than that one.
Pulled him.
Whoa, my health bar.
Okay, I'm gonna ult. Let's push. I'm gonna ult.
Okay, I'm going in.
Just in, I'm helping.
Oh, their Gambit ulted, bro. Their Gambit never pulls, bro. Oh, their fucking Mantis never pulls, bro.
That will definitely make a difference.
Oh, I died. I'm deaded.
Holy, bro. Okay, that was a one.
Alright, I guess I'll play Squirrel Girl.
Or Daredevil, but I think you'd like Squirrel Girl as well.
Oh my god, Gambit, I love your skin.
Now that was stressful.
Did you hear that, Griffin?
It's
Did you hear what he said about you?
Okay. Oh yeah. Oh, I got a kill.
Okay, she cooked there.
Oh yeah, I'm lit.
Hello.
What does this do? What is my health? I have health regen?
No. That makes you it removes your cooldowns for both your abilities. Like you get to pick one.
Oh lit. Oh my god.
Yeah, don't die, bro.
That was worth it.
Yo, what the?
Where's the vehicle at? Oh guys, they're behind us.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I've still got songs to sing.
Oh my god, I got 8.
Oh, Darjay left the game, bro.
Darjay.
We really needed him.
Fuck. Oh,
he was the
I
difference.
died in that?
Darjay beat up. Their World Stampede? Uh-oh.
You got Squirrel Stampede on him, bro?
Yeah.
Oh, I got one.
You don't even need
I don't
to,
need
bro.
to. I
You
don't
don't even need to, bro.
Oh, I got trapped?
Oh yeah, you also have a trap.
Yeah.
What is my trap?
If you
Like
throw, when
stun
you throw
someone
the
for 2
acorn,
seconds.
you know, you can hold to charge
Yeah, yeah.
Also,
distance.
You do a lot of splash damage.
Oh, word?
Yeah, splash on him, bro.
I just threw a random trap. Yeah, I've been splashing.
Yeah, honestly, just don't.
It's that splash.
Just launch
It's
it
that
in the
splash.
general direction. You should be good, bro.
Oh, I died.
Okay, when you die, when you're about to, die, like jump away and shit, bro.
Yeah, I realized that. Yeah, I'm learning. Louder boy, louder boy.
We're down a teammate.
Yo.
Where are you?
Oh, yo, Darjay is back, bro.
Oh, he's back.
Go, Darjay. Oh, I fell.
Off the map? No.
I've still got songs to sing.
Oh, okay, slay.
Weezer a little bit,
Oh my God.
ahead of us.
Not anymore. Who's shooting me?
Maybe Squirrel Girl. It was
I'm the
Squirrel
better Squirrel Girl.
I'm ready to put on a show.
You're Squirrel Girlier, is what you're saying?
I'm super Squirrel Girl here. I haven't even used my ult yet. I don't know what's coming.
This bastard. We got him.
Got it.
Good.
Not sure who I'm doing. Mario.
Wilson.
Wait, why didn't I get to World 7? Oh, I did?
What are you talking about right now, bro?
I did scroll step.
You nutted, bro? Get it?
Come on, guys.
Oh, who stole that kill?
Me. I was just trying to heal. I was just trying to heal you, bro, and I missed. And I hit him.
Right, you saw that burst combo though that I did on him.
I fucking killed. Cook that guy, bro. Cook that fraud.
So you took the frog, bro.
I showed him.
I don't know where I'm shooting, but I'm shooting. Oh, what? How did I not?
Hawkeye.
Bot me.
Oh hell no! Hell no! Oh,
Yeah, that's not nice.
Yeah, they comboed
That's
my
not nice
ass.
at all.
Bro.
Yeah.
Combo wombo.
I'm making a comeback. Get that vehicle moving again.
Never miss.
Oh yeah, we're locked in. We're locked in. Let me out, let me out, let me out.
I don't like that.
Let me out.
Oh shit! Oh shit! I'm dead.
Are you?
Oh, I'm not.
You might be.
Bro, I don't know where the fucking exit is. Oh, it's by me. Fuck. Nah, I fucked up so bad.
Fine, Scroto killed me before she killed you.
Yeah, I don't even know what was going on. This Dark J guy,
I got
bro,
one
kinda
push
sucks,
left.
I can't lie.
Yeah, he does.
We better hurry. I don't want to end up on Bass. Down to 30 seconds.
Ah, he's dead.
I mean, so does the fucking Black Widow on our team. Like, half her kills are from one off, bro.
That's true. After that, she didn't really do anything, did she?
Oh, I got 8.
Oh, fuck.
Alright, I'm over this now.
I'm gonna die.
Time to bust out the Daredevil.
Like, the last 10 seconds, you're gonna bust the Daredevil out, bro.
Haha.
Stay on point.
I just got ult.
Stay on point. I have ult.
Just got ult. Right when I died.
I'm about to have my ult. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck.
Come in.
No.
Come on.
Oh, I just died. Oh, he's killing his
Okay.
ass, bro. Oh, what the fuck?
I was doing it.
I'm ulting.
Okay, okay.
Oh my god. Nobody died.
Yeah. It's because they have too many people and too much healing.
I died. I died, guys.
Oh, I died. Yeah, it's over.
Keep playing with their cooking.
Well, you can't expect to win them all.
Damn, Black Widow difference.
Yeah, she fucked us.
She's bad though.
She's barely revealing the skin and she's still that bad.
I guess it's too easy.
Alright,
though.
I think I'm done, boys.
Yeah.
When you're done,
Yeah, I think I'm done.
I'm gonna run one more and get off.
Alright.
You're a naughty boy, aren't you?